Hello, Crystal here, whistleblowermedia.com, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Montana recall for Sheriff Anderson in Lincoln County, Montana. My site on that is, was MontanaRecall.com, and that was me and one of the other gals that was running the recall. And MontanaRecall.com will still have some of that. We'll have the information on the Montana Attorney General and some of the people that denied listening to any of our stories. That information will be there, but it'll be kind of archived because Sheriff Anderson has been voted out now. You can go to RobbieBowe.com, RobbieBowe.com, and he's the new sheriff. And basically he's just a clone of Darrell Anderson, in my opinion. He's going to maintain the wall of corruption in Lincoln County, Montana. And he's not part of Oath Keepers. I'm going to do a video later on Oath Keepers. Oathkeepers.org is where you go to find out more about that. You want law enforcement to be part of Oath Keepers. It's true, you do. Even though many were slamming Rex Nichols that was running against Robbie Bowe because he was part of Oath Keepers. Well, Oath Keepers basically means I promise that I promised. You know, it means that you you promise not to violate the constitutional rights of me, of you. It's just basically law enforcement doing a double pinky swear that they're going to not violate your rights. And they make it seem like that's anti-government or that's wrong. They take a constitutional oath to uphold your rights in the Constitution anyway. Anyway, I get slammed a lot for supporting Oath Keepers. I will be doing a video about Oath Keepers pretty soon. Went on some tangent. Have you noticed that I go on a lot of tangents? Oh, anyway, the recall. MontanaRecall.com will have some of that information. The story of what happened to me through that is MontanaCorruption.com. Now there's a lot of information there and it might be hard for some of you to wade through. But good civil rights attorney, once you call me and I sue everybody on MontanaCorruption.com, I have all the backup, I have all the proof. I'm just looking for someone that's not afraid of the Montana court system because it's corrupt all the way to the Montana Supreme Court. So, don't you just love my tangents? Anyway, MontanaRecall.com will soon be talking about a recall that is going to start in the spring of 2011, and that is to recall Judge Robin Clute in Hamilton, Montana. RobinClute.com. That's Robin, R-O-B-I-N, Clute, C-L-U-T-E.com. Another site I have there is HamiltonMontanaNews.net, GeorgeKorn.com. He was just voted out as the corrupt Ravalli County attorney, and GeorgeKorn.com will follow wherever he goes to expose anything that he does that's corrupt from now on, but also to show everything he's done to hurt victims in Hamilton, Montana. Also on that note, check out BeneathTheBeauty.com. That is a really great documentary about what's going on in Hamilton, Montana. So the recall for Sheriff Anderson was based on rapes that were not prosecuted, a dog that was beaten and bled out live over a bridge in Eureka, Montana. There was tons and tons of signatures to prosecute those boys, and nothing was done about it. That on top of a lot of crimes, it turns out over decades that Bernie Cassidy and the cronies in Lincoln County's wall of corruption decided not to prosecute these crimes. They protect each other's illegal behavior, and it doesn't matter how much evidence they have, it's basically pay to play. So basically, the good cops that come into Lincoln County, and there's been tons of them, they get run out pretty much. I have several of them that talk to me now, not just the one that you're all thinking of. I have cops that have been, and it's the culture of covering up rape in Lincoln County, Montana is down to a fine art. And it's, you know, it's first. Next is drugs and other things, but covering up rape, I mean, we got the principal of high school involved in covering up a rape of a team years ago. The cop that was in charge of that years ago told me his story. Cops that have sued Lincoln County for discrimination and horrible things have contacted me. Ex-FBI agents have contacted, or people that have connections to agents in the FBI that are pretty high up have contacted me. I haven't made these stories up. I'm telling you the stories that have come to me. It's kind of like, what do they call it? The news? Okay, back to the recall. So MontanaRecall.com will be changing. The archives will be there, but it'll be about recalling Judge Robin Clute for tons of illegal behavior. Go to MontanaCorruption.com for my story on what she did to me, and there will be plenty of other stories. She's recently been reelected by like a teeny tiny amount of votes. In my opinion, the election for the Justice of the Peace in Hamilton, Montana that Robin Clute won was corrupt, was rigged. In my opinion, she was protected by the Ravalli County Attorney George Korn. Hopefully, the new attorney there will not do that. I think his name is Bill Fulbright. But we'll be watching you, Bill, and making sure that there's accountability and transparency to the best of our ability. Also, I always have owned, MichaelSpreadberry.com, and I'm going to talk a lot about who is Michael Spreadberry and why he was seriously defamed all the way to the Montana Supreme Court in fighting for the rights of others. Kind of like me. It wasn't his story. It wasn't his letter he wanted to post to the library that he got a felony charge for. No, he was doing it for the people, right? And he got set up. So some of that is NansuRotty.com. I think that's NansuRotty.com. And basically, I hate to do this to, a librarian, but if she's going to choose the lie over the truth, then, it's just collateral damage. Even though the Ravalli Republic is owned by the corrupt newspaper chain, and they email me to stop using something that they claim is theirs, even though they've completely defamed and lied about Michael Spreadberry, they want me to stop using a picture of the librarian in a straw hat. That's what they want? Well, Michael Spreadberry's sites and some of the Bitterroot Rising stuff is gone now. But you can bet it'll live on. It's going to live on in every little detail and every little photo through me in mass. Forever. Even if I die. Okay? Just so as you know. The truth is the truth, regardless if you think you can shut down the intellectual property of one blogger. And by the way, Michael Spreadberry is protected under Montana media laws, and you all are in really big trouble. Once the lawsuits and once everything come to Ravalli County and the state of Montana and the Supreme Court, he had every right to post that letter. He had every right to have everything he wanted on those websites. You had no right to take away his intellectual property. You guys just make up your own rules. You use evidence, you just make things up out of thin air and boop, give people a felony. Well, we're going to expose all that by law, because Hamilton, Montana does not like the law, see. The illegal protective order against me was not based in Montana law. It was illegal. It was not sworn. There's a whole lot to that. For now, go to MontanaCorruption.com or RobinClute.com. Back to the tangent that I went on here. The recall for Sheriff Anderson basically was because of crimes that weren't prosecuted, right? It kind of headed into the Paul Stramer thing, which you see on some of my other videos, and which opened up a whole bunch of other issues that weren't mine, that were nothing to do with these rape victims. So basically my self-appointed job for the recall was to be the junkyard dog, and anytime anybody attacked the recall, no matter who it was, and oh my goodness, the attacks came from the most shocking of places. I mean, the biggest hurt was, remember, if you've watched some of my previous stuff on how this started, the rape advocate that told me the stories in the first place, hello, comes out like a year into it when my neck's already been run over by the train. I'm tied on the tracks, everybody's involved and all tied on the tracks, and she comes in and says, oh, Sheriff did all he could do, Sheriff's a good guy. Right, they had her, right? They had something on her, right? So basically, she turned on us to protect herself and protect her own life and livelihood. What are you going to do? I wasn't really friends with her. I've known her my whole life, I always loved her, but I wasn't friends with her. She had to choose what she had to choose. But then I had to do what I had to do, right? So I had to post all the articles before where she said all this stuff was true and all the bad job that everybody's doing and why, where she went to the commissioner meetings and did all this stuff, and then later comes out and says, oh, none of that was true. But that's because they made her do it, because, they had something on her. Well, believe me, the rape advocate in Eureka, and y'all know who she is, she's a good person. And she might have done some things in her life that she's not proud of, and I'm sure that we all have. They probably had her on those things. Also, my guess is that there was $400,000, I think, $300,000 or $400,000 in grant money that the corrupt Bernie Cassidy at BernieCassidy.com was holding up from her. So basically they held a bunch of stuff over her head, in my opinion. They dangled all these carrots, and so she had to say, okay, if I was her, I'd have said, you know what, Crystal's already running with this ball, and she's a little bit rabid and a little bit of a mad dog, and well, I've known her for her whole life, and she's kind of full of piss and vinegar, so I'll just leave this to her, right? Which she did. She actually sent people to me later. Some of the stories out of Libby were pretty sick, and some people would call her, and she'd have them call me. Who am I? Troublemaker? No. The media? Well, I'm going to expose their story, right? So anyway, she probably just figured, you know, they're already doing what they're doing. In order for her to help future rape victims, future victims, men and women, of domestic violence, in order to do good in Eureka, Montana, she had to choose the money. She had to choose to let go of the pressure the county was putting on her. County commissioners, the sheriff, the detectives, the county attorney. My opinion, she had to let go of that and basically throw us under the bus so that she could get the grant money and so that she could make a difference in other people's lives to the best of her ability. And when I take the high road, I see why she did it, but I hope you understand why I did what I did. I couldn't let everybody that was counting on me just lay there on the tracks. I had to then expose you. So it all comes back around to, you know, the truth. But I do get why you did what you did. And, you know, you chose the quality of life of the people you're protecting in the future versus the past. And what you could do based on having this money and having... So I get it.